And we are back in the building, back with some more boxing. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and all that good stuff. Now, guys, I want to talk about this narrative that's going around that Terence Crawford, the 147-pound undisputed champion, is afraid to face Jaron Ennis. Now, you guys know Jaron Ennis is I would say the new boogeyman on the come up at 147. He's an undefeated fighter. Let's see, he is 31-0, 28 KOs. He's somewhat of a knockout artist, as you guys have seen in his fights. And he is the IBF mandatory challenger to Terence Crawford. Now, a lot of people think Terence Crawford doesn't want that fight because he's afraid. And I have to beg to differ on that. I don't think it's a matter of Terence Crawford being afraid of Jaron Ennis. I think he looks at that fight and, in his opinion, it probably does nothing for him, in this time, in this point in his career. You know, we all know that he was looking for the big fights now. Now that he beat Errol Spence Jr., now that he became undisputed in 2 weight classes, he's looking for big fights. And he deserves big fights. He's, like I said, he's in the twilight of his career. He was looking to face Canelo Alvarez to become undisputed in a 3rd weight class, which Canelo Alvarez is not really entertaining that fight for the simple fact that he believes he doesn't get any credit if he wins. He says it's not part of his plan. And honestly, it could be a bad style matchup for him if that fight was to take place. I think that he should fight Terence Crawford for the simple fact that Terence Crawford is seen as the pound-for-pound best fighter on the planet, and Canelo wants to be seen as the best fighter on the planet, and the only way you do that is knock the guy who's on the top off. So I think it would be an interesting fight. You know, like I said, styles make fights, and I think Terence Crawford's style would definitely give Canelo Alvarez problems. Now, of course, Canelo Alvarez has the power. You know, that's a lot. You know, you can't overlook that. And he's a hell of a boxer as well. So I think it would be an interesting matchup if it does take place. Now, like I said, that's probably not going to take place. So I think the fallback would be the Jermell Charlo equation. Jermell Charlo, who is a unified champion now. You guys know he was stripped. He was stripped of the IBF title, and it was Tim Tszyu was elevated to he was stripped of the WBO title, excuse me. And Tim Tszyu, who was the interim WBO champion at 154, was elevated to the new champion. And now, instead of having to face one guy at 154 for undisputed, he would have to face 2. And I think those are interesting fights still. I think Jermell Charlo's done a lot of great things at 154. Of course, his last fight with Canelo Alvarez was a complete bust. But he went up to 168, daring to be great, and he just wasn't ready for that level of competition at 168 pounds. But I think him being a undisputed champion at 154 at one time, I think he would bring a lot to the table in that fight with Terence Crawford. Tim Tszyu, you guys know he is the new boogeyman at 154. And a lot of people now have their eyes on Tim Tszyu. So I think that would be a good fight for Terence Crawford as well. I think that could be a big money fight. I think they could build that fight up. Tim Tszyu wants to fight in the United States now. He wants to fight Vegas. He wants to be on pay-per-view. What better guy than to get in the ring with Terence Crawford? I think that would be a huge fight. Jaron Ennis, in my opinion, I just don't see. I think he has star power and potential, but it's just not there yet. It's just not something I think a lot of people would pay to see. Even though I think the fight would be, I think Terence Crawford would win the fight. I think Jaron would have his moments in the fight, but I think, Terence Crawford's just too skilled for Jaron Ennis. Looking at his last 2 fights, he fought Roman Villa. Now, that fight was tailor-made for Jaron Ennis. Roman Villa is not much of a boxer. He's a brawler. He's gonna bang, and that's what happened in that fight. Now, the fight before that, he fought Karen Chukazan, and I don't know if you guys watched that fight, but Chukazan gave he gave Jaron Boots Ennis some problems in that fight because he boxed Jaron Boots Ennis and he wasn't used to a guy moving around the ring like that. Now take out Karen Chukazan and insert a guy like Terence Crawford. It's going to be a nightmare style matchup for him. And I just think that he's not on that level yet. He hasn't been in the ring with guys of that caliber yet. He hasn't fought like a big name, like a Danny Garcia, or he hasn't fought a guy like Keith One-Time Thurman, or even a Sean Porter. He hasn't fought any of those type of guys yet. And jumping up and fighting the best fighter on the planet, I just don't think he's going to be able to win that fight. Even though I think he has the potential to be a great fighter, I just don't see him on that level yet. And I just don't see Bud Crawford wanting that fight next because it does nothing for him. It's not a big money fight. And he's looking for big money fights. He's looking for legacy fights. And this one's not it, in my humble opinion. So that's my opinion on that, guys. I don't think he's afraid of Jaron Boots Ennis. I just think that it just does nothing for him. Whether or not he wants to face Tim Tszyu or Jermell Charlo to become undisputed at 154, I guess we're going to have to wait and see, because he still has the rematch with Errol Spence Jr. I think that will take place at 154 pounds, and we'll see what happens next. I think that's his best bet, though. If he beats Errol Spence Jr., looking at Tim Tszyu and possibly Jermell Charlo to become undisputed at 154. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think. Do you think that he's afraid of Jaron Boots Ennis? Or do you think that he just, wants bigger and better things? You guys let me know how you feel about that in the comment section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.